Is this a biohack or not?
All right.
Okay. Ozempic.
Everything's a biohack. Let's face it. Changing the environment around you or inside of you to control your biology. Ozempic.
It's more to get your comment on Ozempic. Let's just
All
say it that way.
right. Here's the deal with Ozempic. Ozempic is a miracle drug because being fat will kill you. So losing weight is a really good thing. However, if you use Ozempic wrong, it will break you. So it's only a miracle drug if you do two things when you're on Ozempic. Number one, you must get 1 gram per pound of target body weight of protein. And I don't care if you're nauseous, you chug it in a smoothie and you do it every day religiously as you inject your Ozempic. And a couple times a week, you do the 4 exercises I talked about: squats, push-ups, pull-ups. If you're not going to do those, don't take Ozempic because it can be really dangerous. If you do those things, you're going to maintain your muscle mass. Most people on Ozempic lose their muscle mass, which is dangerous. But you know what's more dangerous? Being obese. So if I was 300 pounds, I would use Ozempic. I have taken it one time to do a podcast about it. I felt like I was morning sick the whole time. I didn't want to eat anything. I lost muscle mass during that week. It was gross. But if I was 300 pounds, I would have done it so much. I believe it's dangerous to take it without enough protein and without enough exercise, but it's a miracle drug if you do those things.
Let's get your take on juice cleanse.
Juice cleanses are the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. You're getting a bunch of sugar, and usually you're getting a huge amount of plant toxins. In fact, spinach and kale have so much oxalate in them that there's a case report of someone dying after a 10-day spinach kale juice cleanse. Your body can handle about 5 grams of oxalate a day. A large spinach kale smoothie with beets and almond juice can have 1 gram. You do 5 large smoothies a day, you're probably going to get kidney stones. There's nothing cleansing about it. You might as well just punch yourself in the kidney. You want to do a cleanse? There's a very old way of doing it. It's called a fast. You drink water every day with some salt in it until you're done. That's a cleanse. Take some activated charcoal. That's a cleanse. Juice cleanses? Just eat Twinkies. It's the same thing.
Intermittent fasting.
I wrote the first major book, The Bulletproof Diet, on intermittent fasting, which kicked off a big revolution in it. I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting. Problem is, a lot of people overfast, and that's why I wrote my second book on fasting. Guys, if you're tweaked, if you're at the wrong time of your cycle, if you just lifted heavy, if you just flew around the world, if you're getting sick, have breakfast. Don't have sugar for breakfast, have some meat. Or in your case, a bunch of eggs. But same difference. So this is how it works. Fasting is a stimulation. It's a stress on the body. Don't put more stress on the body when the body's already stressed. Use it to help yourself recover. But when you need aggressive recovery, have some breakfast.
Peptides.
Peptides are some of the most powerful biohacks. They're small protein fragments. And these little protein fragments are signals to your body to make a change. That's the definition of biohacking. Change the environment around you, change the environment inside you. That's changing the environment inside of you so that your body's, oh, here's a signal, I should do this. And it's just injecting instructions to change. So things like BPC, they speed healing. And there's others that extend telomeres to make you live longer. And peptides are not drugs. And anytime, anywhere on the planet, a regulatory authority tries to take away your right to peptides, that's a sign the regulatory authority is working for Big Pharma. Peptides are a human right.
Stem cells.
Stem cells are one of the things that I'm a huge fan of. I have probably had more stem cells than anyone else alive, I'm guessing. I've had my bone marrow taken out twice, my fat taken out 2 or 3 times, and billions of stem cells injected in every joint in my body, my hair, face, my reproductive system, everywhere else you could possibly put them, multiple times. And I've done at least 50 vials of exosomes. They can be absolutely amazing. However, there are places now starting to say, well, we're going to have like low-cost umbilical cells available at drive-by facilities. I don't think that's a good idea. There are issues with umbilical cells. They can heal you, but I have seen people unable to walk for 6 months after umbilical cells. The safest stem cells are your own stem cells, or something called V cells that you can extract from your body. So I'm a huge fan of those. And I'm also a huge fan of something called iPSC edited stem cells. I wrote about those in Superhuman. They're just becoming available, but you have to leave the country.
Living longer by being vegetarian.
There is zero evidence that living longer comes from being vegetarian or not vegetarian. Living longer comes from doing things that reduce inflammation. And the idea that a plant-based diet will make you live longer is not supported by science, despite the Blue Zones documentary. I deeply respect Dan Buettner, who made it. He and I are both interested in extending human life. When I asked him about it, he said, I don't know why beans work. I just know a lot of people eat a lot of beans, therefore I'm going to eat a lot of beans. That's not the level of scientific rigor that I would want. For instance, different beans have very, very different levels of oxalic acid, which is not going to make you live longer because it takes out your kidneys. Black beans are different than pinto beans. In fact, black beans are probably not really good for you. So what's going on here? I think there's a lack of science in this, and there's huge money from animal rights terrorist groups who are happy to tell you it's healthy because all they care about is making sure there's no animals on the planet, because if we have no agriculture, there won't be any animals, but there's that. And there's some religious front groups going back to early 1900s, Seventh-day Adventists, and big food companies are all over the vegan diet. Like, oh, look, I can charge $6 for a bag of flour instead of a bag of beef jerky. This is a great deal. So I will tell you, if you want to be vegetarian, do it. If you want to be vegan, you are putting your life and especially the health of your children at risk. It is not worth it. I was a vegan. I was a devout raw vegan. I juiced, I sprouted, I was highly educated, and it gave me oxalic acid poisoning. Like, I got all the razor sharp crystals in the joints, all the things that happen, and it is so not worth it. And most people, 80% who go vegan, stop doing it. So no, a vegan diet or a plant-based diet is nonsense. It's what we feed peasants when we can't afford to feed them meat. Mm-hmm. This is the history of it. Vegetarian is a lot more nuanced. If you are vegetarian and you're eating enough of your ancestral foods, which will include dairy and eggs, you can do it.
Yeah, because it's an interesting thing, just contextually. So I have 4 grandmas that lived till 93, 94, active,
Awesome.
not on bed or anything like that, fully active in community, very present, walking every day, doing housework every day, all lived over 90, 100% vegetarian, not even eggs. And I also don't eat eggs, but basically that's a culture that I come from called Jainism.
Oh, you're Jain. I know Jain. In fact, you guys are right about garlic and onions too. 100%.
Yeah, so no garlic, no onion, no potatoes, just basic, eat before.
I'm basically as Jain as you can get and be a white dude, because I don't eat any of that stuff either, because it actually isn't that good for you. So.
Yeah, and they would also always eat before sunset. Like basically everything that you said.
There's huge wisdom in the Jain faith. Huge wisdom.
Yeah, and they all lived very functional and died very peacefully. Like, they knew it was coming. They pretty much told everyone that I want to see everyone before I pass. Like literally one of the aunts just passed, grandma's just passed. And she literally had the whole family there, met them. And once the family was gone, 5 days later, she passed.
That's how life is supposed to be. And I love it that your family's still practicing that. And I've seen it in my family as well, when people know when the end is coming. In where I've ended up now, I grew up, I'm a computer scientist, Westerner, atheist, agnostic guy. I think the way you come into the world, the quality of your birth and the quality of your death are the 2 most important things. And I look at them as the same thing. So you can celebrate someone's death as much as you celebrate their birth.